there is some reason to be optimistic here. Bitcoin has been consolidating at lows, which is actually a pretty bad sign, I would say. But I think that there are a few things which people are generally missing right here, because things are going absolutely fucking crazy in the world right now. Like, this is mind-blowing. If we look at the dollar, I mean, the dollar is at 113. It was at 114, pushing 114 and a half on the dollar index right here. And one of the biggest things that actually contributed to the dollar rising up this high this quickly just over the last days is the pound, which is obviously, I mean, this is the country I'm from. I'm from the United Kingdom. Look at the pound. This is absolutely ridiculous. It's literally just pretty much died overnight, like over the last couple of days. And this is just unprecedented times. I think it's having a real effect on the markets, and it's just causing a lot of panic right here. Just everywhere. It's not just the pound. I mean, the euro has also, fallen far below the $1 mark right here. I mean, the dollar is now more powerful than the euro and has been for some time here. Some quite crazy stuff going on. But guys, I think this is actually leading us into some opportunities. I mean, everybody in their nan is super, super bearish. You heard me saying this in the last video. If you already knew about that, then make sure... if you didn't already know about that, then make sure that you are subscribed to the YouTube channel, because those of you who are regular viewers are going to know all about that. But bringing this back to Bitcoin and what this means for Bitcoin right here is, look, Bitcoin has been actually consolidating at these lows for quite some time now, right? I spoke to you about this in the previous video where, generally when Bitcoin kind of consolidates at its lows, that's not the best of signs. You can see right here that we were getting a series of bounces, but this time we haven't really been getting any bounces. We've just kind of been consolidating at these lows, which is one of the easiest signs to tell us that we are actually going to be dipping down. But we have actually started to form one pattern in particular that I think requires a little bit of attention. I'm just trying to find the right damn chart. I have so many Bitcoin charts right here. But really what I want to show you guys right now with Bitcoin is, that we've actually kind of entered some sort of a potential descending triangle or symmetrical triangle type situation right here. So this is what the symmetrical triangle would look like, or if we're in a descending triangle, it would just basically go down to this green line. And the reason that I think this is important is that this does potentially show us that, the pressure is kind of condensing to the downside, pushing us down. This generally will be having a 66% likelihood of breaking lower when we form these kind of patterns. But, if we are able to just get above this red line, that's where things could be getting a little bit exciting. And if we take a look at Ethereum, we have seen potentially some signs of something like that happening. Let's just bring this up on this chart right here so I can show it to you, where Ethereum's been trying to do the same thing, really. I mean, it's not been doing very well. It's actually fallen a little bit harder than Bitcoin, as we know, just given, that when the market is bearish, Ethereum is going to get smacked down a little bit harder. But if we take a look at what this looks like for Ethereum, it's not really putting up much of a fight, really, is it? But this is kind of our breaking point right here. We have been trending down over these last few days. This kind of stretches all the way back to the 19th of September, and it's roughly a similar point for Bitcoin. You can see these wicks. I mean, this is just very recently. It did look like we were able to kind of get above some of these levels, and depending on how you draw these lines, we have already done so. I've seen some charts drawn a little bit like this, some charts drawn like this. It really depends on how you are putting your lines here. But the bottom the top line here, I guess, is that if we are able to get above these resistance areas right here, we could be seeing a little bit of relief. And I think that's something that this market, could actually be due for. Not to say that we will actually get it, but certainly that we could be due for it. And that is because we have just kind of been slowly moving down for quite some time now, and that is generally going to be where I start getting a few alarm bells in my head, just thinking, people are generally, becoming quite bearish here. We've got quite a clear bullish divergence on this chart right now. Take a look at this. If we kind of trace what this is doing right here, let's remove tone phases indicator. That was a mistake. Bear with. Bam, right there. Let's just take that off. If we kind of look at how the RSI has been trending, it's generally moving up while the price is generally moving down. So these, bullish divergences that I was highlighting to you guys in the previous videos, they're actually, I think, becoming a lot more obvious now. You take a look at this with Bitcoin as well, and again, it's pretty clear if you just trace the top of the RSI, kind of average highs that we've been getting pretty much since, I guess, whatever, like the 17th, 18th of September and onwards. market has kind of been trending lower with its highs, but the RSI has been trending higher, right? And so I think this is something that does potentially indicate a potential, little bit of relief. Like I said, just if you're constantly moving down basically now for about 12 days straight, and sometimes you're moving down quickly, sometimes you're moving down a little bit slower, eventually that's going to have to come to an end. And I'm not saying that Bitcoin is potentially, is going to be, rocketing up to, 23,000, 24,000 or something, although that would certainly be quite possible if we did get a breakout above these lines. But what I am saying is at least some sort of relief where we just get out of this choppy range. And one of the reasons that I'm saying this is people are getting a little bit drunk off the dollar right now. If you look at what's going on in the real world. And by the way, I just want to point out, if you haven't already noticed this, I mean, that would be somewhat concerning. But if you haven't already been made aware through your own research or through the people that you're watching and listening to, yes, the dollar is sucking up, a lot of the other currencies in the world, including, the pound and euro and so on. But the dollar itself is not strong either. It's just that other currencies are much weaker. So when the dollar is going up, that doesn't mean the dollar is getting stronger. It is getting stronger compared to other currencies, but the dollar itself is still getting weaker. And I think this is really, really important because we've seen just some this is basically a bloody parabola, guys. This is some quite ridiculous, movement for the dollar index right here. I mean, the more you zoom out, the crazier it gets. It's absolutely mind-blowing, ladies and gents. Look at this. This is literally what a parabola looks like. Look at this. Wow, that's absolutely insane. And so seeing something like this here, seeing that the pound has now pretty much just reached parity with the dollar, only a couple of weeks after the euro did, if I'm not mistaken, maybe a month or two, this is a very, very big deal. And to see a little bit of a relief, something that can potentially take the market just a little bit higher, I think would very much be on the cards. And, one of the reasons that I'm also saying this is if you do look at the kind of indicators that I've been watching just to see if there's resistance on the market, especially on these kind of short/midterm timeframes, for example, with the 4-hour time frame. Let's wait for this to load up right here. It is taking its time. Maybe not. Yeah, there we go. We do have a little bit of resistance right here, but look at how easy it's going to be to break this resistance. I mean, we've the highs that we've been hitting have consistently kind of been, in the low $19,000 range. And if we're able to just punch a few $100s above that, 19.6, for example, we're actually going to clear some decent headway above these resistance areas right here. And that could actually be what kind of sets the market off for a little bit of a rally. Like I said in the previous video, if you are already subscribed, you're going to know this already, but there are potentially quite a few short positions in this market right now, a lot of trapped short positions that could be trapped if the market does end up going up a little bit, and the only way to close out those short positions would be to go long. So I think that's a really, really important thing to be considering in this market right now, because this is one of those factors that are at play which the technicals don't necessarily point to them right now, but it's very, very obvious that this dynamic can change super quickly. And that, by the way, is one of the most typical things that happens to Bitcoin is certain things might not look super obvious before the actual event happens. I'm very excited right now, as you can tell, before the event actually happens, but these factors would kind of just be in the background, and you either know about them or you don't know about them. And one of these is the potential for a little bit of a short squeeze if we do end up moving up. And like I said, that is just primarily going to be because we've just been trading downwards for so bloody long right here. I mean, like I said, for 12 days is a very, very long time to actively be setting new lower highs within this market. So that is definitely something that I'm going to be looking at. And if we do end up getting that break up, let's talk about where this could be going. We've got a little bit of resistance right here at 19.5, so that's why that was the first kind of area that I outlined, 19.5, 19.6, as being a potential area of resistance. This is where the market was bouncing up right here around the middle of this month, and at the very beginning of this month / the end of last month, we were getting some bounces off this level. So unfortunately, I think that this could be a bit of a problem for Bitcoin. If it does end up finding resistance here, then that just keeps us in the very same range that we're in right now. That just means we're going to continue to trade sideways, which would be absolutely horrible for us. It would be very, very nasty if we do end up staying in this kind of range. But what it would mean at least is that we're no longer in a descending triangle. So it's, I guess, a little bit less bearish. And I suppose that's actually the best that we can get right now. One of the things I was saying in the last video is that I actually think Bitcoin is holding up pretty well. If you look at where Bitcoin is now compared to where the dollar index is, and if you compare to where Bitcoin was before, right here at this low, compared to where the dollar index was at that same time, I'm not going to show you now because, like I said, I've already covered this in the last video, but if you compare where Bitcoin is now compared to where the dollar was, and so on, it's pretty clear to see that while the dollar is picking up a lot of speed on this index, Bitcoin isn't actually getting weaker right now, which is, the first time in a very, very long time that we've seen that happen across, a decent amount of time. I mean, this is, from June stretching into September now. I mean, that's a good couple of months right there, a good 3 months, really, a little bit more than that. And we're not, for the first time, we're not seeing Bitcoin get absolutely destroyed while the dollar is rallying higher on this index. And I think that's a really, really good sign, because basically what we've got is potentially a really, really bearish, event happening in the market, but it's not actually impacting Bitcoin very much. That is something that I really, really like seeing, because what happens if things start to reverse? This is the thing that people don't really consider, but this is what we're bringing you on this YouTube channel, ladies and gents. Smash up the likes if you appreciate this. This is where the really, really big things can happen, guys. If you pay attention to how the market responds to negative stimuli, and then you consider how it might respond to positive stimuli on the other side of that, that's where these things can become really, really exciting. Because again, if Bitcoin is faced with a very potentially dangerous situation where the dollar is getting stronger and stronger with a lot of aggression, but Bitcoin is still hanging in there, well, that's telling us, I mean, we go back to my horrible analogies that this YouTube channel is famous for. This is almost like you've got, a kid that's being kicked on the floor, like he's in boxing practice or whatever, and he's just getting absolutely hammered in the head, just really smacked in the head constantly. I mean, he's in a very, very weak, vulnerable position, but he's not getting hurt. He's not getting hurt. What happens when the guy kicking gets tired? In this case, when the dollar stops being so strong compared to other currencies. What happens at that point? If this kid is able to then get up and he's taken all these hits, but he's still okay, what happens when the aggressor actually needs to take a break? Well, this kid might have a really good fighting chance. And that's how I'm seeing Bitcoin right now. Again, we couple this with the fear and greed index. We're still down at 21. Yesterday, down at 24. We have just been kind of flatlining in extreme fear for a little bit of time now. This is where I'm seeing quite a few opportunities in the market, ladies and gents. And actually, just while we're on that topic of opportunities, I want to highlight this one to you. PalmSwap is a decentralized exchange. It's a derivatives exchange that is completely decentralized. So it's not like the ones that you guys hear me talking about, Bybit, BitGet, and so on. Not like that. These guys are not centralized in that sense. And they are launching very, very soon. They've actually got a token. This is a speculative opportunity if you want to make some investments in the market now while everything is absolutely shot, while things are very, very cheap. It's obviously a scary time to be making investments in projects, but I've personally done it already. I'm already invested in PalmSwap if you want to join me on that. If you think that now is a good time while things are just getting absolutely destroyed, if you think now is a good time to get in on something, this is something that I've personally jumped in on myself. I love the idea of decentralization. You guys know me very well. It's good for security. It's good for, at least somewhat safeguarding the market from manipulation and so on. So this is a guide that I've got on screen, which you're also going to find in the description, for how you can get involved in PalmSwap if you do want to take advantage of this. Once this public sale for the token is over, you are going to be able to trade on this as a decentralized exchange as well. So go ahead and check it out with the guide. I've also got my link in the description for you to check this out and get those tokens. This is essentially going to be, right now it's available for you to buy these tokens, and then later on they're going to be listed, and hopefully you can make some money off it. I don't know if you will. It's obviously been a very risky climate over the last year, but like I said, I mean, this is a risk that I've taken on, and I'm very comfortable with this risk at the moment. I do think that these guys are working on something good. It's backed by a lot of people much smarter than me, and that is something that I always do like to see as well. So go ahead and check this out. Follow that link in the description as well if you want to get a piece of this beautiful little pie right here. But bringing it back to the market, I think this is kind of the biggest thing is right now, everyone's eyes are going to be just on the dollar and what's going on in the real world. The S&P 500, I think, is a really, really big part of my analysis just here at the moment. It's obviously just a Monday right now. The market hasn't even opened yet. It's going to open in the next 90 minutes. But my God, Friday ended off really, really badly. Hopefully, I'm sorry, this was Friday. Friday ended really, really badly. Hopefully it doesn't continue like that. But, generally if we're gapping down like this on Friday, what does that tell us about Monday? It's, I don't know. I don't want to be too pessimistic, but it's just not giving me the confidence that I'd like to see right now. If we do end up kind of swinging below this low right here, then I think we're going to have to fall into this range, which is going to be quite a substantial drop from where we are right now. It's not that bad. It's between 3 to 7.5%. I suppose the bigger thing that's concerning is that if this does happen, it's probably going to drag Bitcoin down with it. And what does that mean for Bitcoin? I think quite easily, the mid-teens, for Bitcoin, right? Like 15,000, 14, 16, something like that. Absolutely very, very much on the cards if the S&P 500 does swing down to those lows. The good news is that that's a really good area of support. It's probably the best area of support that I can see for the S&P 500. And actually, I'm curious, I haven't actually done this yet. Let's throw a fib on this. See if it lines up with any key levels. So we've got the 0.5 level just smack bang in the middle. Nothing else really. So that's not giving me much confidence, but at least there's a 0.5 level, I guess. Yeah, not really the best, but this is still a level that lines up with some of our prior highs. I mean, this was the high that the SPX set just before that big coronavirus market crash, so that is something that I think is still worth paying at least a little bit of attention to right now in this market. So that's all I've got time for in this video, but hopefully I'm going to be coming to you guys with another video later on today. I am going to try and make you a video just about the Ethereum post-merge, just some analysis on the post-merge situation. It's been about 9-10 days since the merge happened. Obviously nobody cares anymore. That's just how these news events go. I want to break down what I'm seeing with you guys in that video, hopefully later on today. So again, just double check that you are subscribed and you got the bell checked if you are interested in that. One more time, if you are interested in Palm Swap, if you want to make the same investment that I made, obviously it wouldn't be at the same time or at the same price, but it is still in the same token, then you can do so just by following the links in the description down below for Palm Swap to get on this guide, and my referral link as well, so you can actually get those tokens. So there you go. Really hope you have enjoyed this one. You know what to do. If you have, hit up the likes, subscribe, tick the bell, do all that good stuff. If you want to jump inside a VIP, these are the steps on screen, and I'll see you all in the next one. Bye bye.